Ladies and gentlemen, our next session, the road to NextGen marketing in Europe.
Welcome, everybody, to the panel of the Road to NextGen Marketing in Europe. I'm your moderator, Stephanie Dessart, Vice President of Strategic Consulting at Zeta Global. And today, we're going to get into the challenges that we face when it comes to marketing in Europe. It's actually a business-as-usual problem for us. And it comes across with customer audiences that we have to deal with, markets, languages, challenges to do with privacy and regulations. And at present, a lot of macroeconomic headwinds, advancements in generative AI, a lot of other challenges when we look at third-party cookie deprecation. And how do you manage all of that and think about your growth roadmaps in terms of next-gen marketing? And today, I am super honored to be here with some of the biggest brands across retail, travel, and tech. And we are going to be really getting into the depths of what they are experiencing on a day-to-day and how they're really embracing these changes and taking opportunities out of them and looking at how they can develop their digital transformation and their growth roadmaps. So welcome all of you panelists today. Thank you for traveling from all around the world, specifically Europe. I'd like to get started. Before we get into it, can we, would you like to introduce yourselves, Sylke?
Sure. So before I get started, I want to thank you, that I have the opportunity to be here at this panel, meeting these wonderful people and talking to all of you. So my name is Sylke Maringer. I'm working at eBay in marketing technology, and I'm in charge of program management and operational excellence. Program management, technical program management, we are the group of people who are stitching engineering, product owners, and marketing together and execute on our large, big business initiatives. And we do this with the heart of operational excellence. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everybody, and good afternoon to all of our colleagues who are watching us from Europe. I'm Jessica Myers. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for The Very Group. We are a pure-play digital retailer in the UK and Ireland. Basically, we're an online department store. We offer 2,000 brands, including our own brand, across multiple categories. So fashion, I think you call it apparel here. Elect, toys, gifts, beauty, home. We have about 4.5 million customers, and we are a real purpose-led organization. Our focus is around helping our families to get more out of life, and I think we're going to talk a lot about that today. To you, Brian.
Thank you, Jess. Brian Harte is my name. I'm responsible for global media and consumer digital for Tourism Ireland. Tourism Ireland is the body that markets the island of Ireland overseas as a holiday destination, as a vacation destination for the folks in the room. We do plenty of work across a lot of Western European markets, North America, Australia, and so on. So for global media and consumer digital, I'm talking about the global media operations, obviously, marketing technology, media insights, Ireland.com, our consumer website, our email program, and our social media activity, as well as various other campaign activity and so on. So the reason that I do what I do is to finally wear the green jersey on behalf of my country. I was never good enough at rugby, Steph. I was never good enough at football.
Oh dear, Brian.
I know,
please.
yeah. So I needed
the exposure moments here.
I needed to have some way of representing my country. So this is how I've chosen it.
Hello, nice to meet you all here. I'm Wojciech. I come from Poland, and I work for Polsat Plus Group. This is the largest privately owned enterprise in Poland, the largest TV broadcaster and TV producer, the largest pay TV company, and maybe not the largest, but one of the largest mobile operators, with more than 50% of people covered with the best 5G. I think the best in Europe, not only in Poland. And I am responsible for all upsell, cross-sell, and loyalty building activities with a special focus on digital moments recently. Thank you.
Thank you, Wojciech. So, as you can see, we've got a real myriad of different verticals here, industries and thought leaders. and experts. So let's get into it. I want to start with where we are right now, this year of 2023, and really get your perspective on what you see has been the biggest change, and coming from that change, what you see as a result of that, what is the biggest opportunity for you in your organisation and for your team and how you're marketing. So let's start with you, Jess.
Yeah, thank you. I think no one wants to talk about it, but I think before I talk about 2023, we've had those 2 really challenging years through COVID. And I think it's worth referencing that, especially as we're thinking about the UK market for us as well. So being a pure play digital retailer, of course, when the high street had to unfortunately close their doors for business during those challenging times, companies like ours were prepared, really focusing on e-commerce to support the needs of consumers. So of course, we acquired a lot more customers during that period and were able to fill a lot more customer needs. But what we have seen, especially in the UK market with our peers on the high street, is they've really upped their digital game. So they're definitely, the competition is rife. Retail has already been an incredibly competitive environment, and that's increasing even more so from a digital perspective. We're about to head into those crazy 12 weeks, the golden quarter, as we head into Christmas. So we will see that increasing more and more. As well as offering retail, we also have an integrated financial services business as well. So customers come in and buy retail products, but the majority of our customers really value their flexible ways to pay. And we've obviously been heavily impacted by financial services businesses coming in with more innovative financial services products. That's impacting us too. Something we're also struggling with in the UK right now is a cost of living crisis. Inflation is high, interest rates are high, cost of goods is high. And that's a real challenge for all consumers, not just consumers for the Very Group, but consumers across the UK. I think one of the really important points in here is how brands lean into that to really support customers during that period. Customers are after value, and they're looking to brands that have purpose that can support them with that. It's not the brands that will win, and this is, I guess, where the 2023 trend comes in, but it's always been so important. It's being really clear on using your data to understand the insights of your customers and how you as a business can be delivering to their needs. So customers looking for value. So those brands that are after price-led, transactional relationships will fall short into the brands that are looking after creating an emotional connection. And so for us, that's really getting into the heart of our data, understanding our target customer and really innovating for them. We're really laser focused on our customer. We're really clear on what she's female. She's about 35 to 45 years old. She earns about £30,000 a year. I think that's, $36,000 a year. Really focused on the family. But for her, it's around making the needs of the family, but also really supporting the fact that she loves fashion. She has a passion for fashion. So we partner with different celebrities. We have different collections. In fact, I'm wearing our Lucy Mecklenburg collection here today to understand how we can be focusing on value for the customer, aspirational yet affordable fashion, and using that insight to make sure we are helping our families get more out of life. I told you, bring purpose back into it.
Brilliant, thank you, Jess. And I think we'll get more into how you guys are leveraging the data and the technology to make that possible. By the time you guys leave this room, you're probably all going to be on the very site checking out the outfits, because Jess does a good job of it. But getting back into the 23 changes, Sylke, what's been the biggest change for you, and what's the result of that being an opportunity?
I cannot agree more to what you have said, right? We are still in a very, very challenging macro environment. And I also want to remind us, we have still a war in Europe. We have, let's say, a huge inflow of refugees coming to our countries. Politicians are stretched, finding the right answers. In this environment, we have our customers, right? And we need to listen to our customers' needs and understand where the customer is, and support the customer with the relevant messages he or she need at this point in time. So the change is personalized, relevant customer messages. And we in eBay, we have this purpose, right? We can convince our customers of using our platform, also with having not a lot of money available and buying used stuff as well as new stuff. But I think our offers is great, and so the change is we continuously driving growth, but also on the other hand staying or becoming more agile to respond to any changes we are seeing and facing in our markets.
Thank you, Sylke. And over to you, Brian. We're going to pivot to a bit of travel here.
Sure. So I think the consumer has had their psychological contract with their life before COVID disrupted. And I think they are still renegotiating with themselves and their work and their family life about how they want to be and how they and where they place their values. So for brands trying to address that, there's a lot of trying to, one, get under the skin of what is something that it is quite a movable feast right now. So we're in the middle of a full, deep resegmentation piece of work that will allow us to understand where the consumer is now, and then we'll begin to kind of push that through into the buying platforms and into our audience sets in order to be able to capitalize on the motivations that we now see. So we're going to see some adaptation there. We're also in a moment where I think sustainability is going to cross the Rubicon from something that people value as and think is important to something that actually affects travel decisions and consumer travel decisions. So we're just about to see that. We're certainly seeing it in Scandinavia, far less so in the United States, but in Western Europe it is going to become a feature of travel decisions increasingly, which is a problem for a destination like Ireland because we're an island and you have to fly to get there. So we have to figure that out. And what's our approach to, one, how do we address our markets? Where do we invest our bias towards which kinds of customers? And how do we shape the customer journey so that we're able to find people who are willing to travel, but willing to stay longer, to stay in a more ecologically sensitive way, and so on. So as this becomes a more significant consumer factor, we need to be able to respond to that. And I certainly think that that cost of living that Jess was referring to is endemic throughout a lot of Europe. Baseline costs of hospitality have increased, but you also then have people who are under pressure in our source markets. And what we're beginning to see is a softening of the length of stay, for example. So you end up with a 2-day stay rather than a 3-day stay, or a 5-day stay instead of a 7-day stay. And it's very hard to see what you're not getting. And so this will just disappear subtly, and you'll see it in the outworking of the season, the impact of that. So I certainly think that sustainability is a factor. Now, in an explosive sense, I think AI is on its way, and it's in every talk, obviously, but it feels like this massive wave that is about to crash on shore that will affect the nature of what an organization is, what a job is, how you execute, how you understand and evaluate how a consumer consumes, particularly in digital consumption. You can expect to see when the LLMs reach the mobile phone and they're endemic on the device, then fed into every single app, there is going to be a massive shift. But it's not really 23 as a force, but it's definitely something that we now need to be prepared for.
Thank you, Brian. And I like to say, embrace AI and don't fear it. Partner with it because it can make our jobs better and help the organisation. It's a journey, isn't it? Yeah. So, and finally with you, Wojciech.
You must be here on stage to know what it's like to be the last one to speak after so many people with whom you only agree, actually. The cost of living crisis, yes, I agree. This is especially, I must say, in Poland, where we haven't adopted the euro yet. So we, on top of all these crisis discussions, we have the lowering value of the currency, the inflation that everyone has, but inflation, when you do not have that big currency, I mean, like a dollar or a euro, is even a worse thing. So, when I was thinking, still today in the morning, I thought that I would say that 2023 is about large language models, about AI and so on, but everyone is talking about this AI, and I think the most important thing is to realize that actually the AI is only on one of tools. I'm not still sure if this is the most important one to solve problems, because our customers, we as individuals, actually, we are not about AI. Our real problems is the inflation, is the cost of living crisis. for younger people, it's probably even more the climate change and the freedom of speech and freedom of travel and so on. So I think that 2023, as maybe the first full year, I hope so, with no pandemic, with no war starting in Europe and maybe all over the world, is the first year when we actually realize what the problem is, and we are starting to look for solutions.
Yeah, I think there's a definite theme and thread here about empathy and being cognizant of the fact that life is changing for everyone and everyone's not in the same space. Like pivoting actually to the customer and customer privacy, which we have a heck of a job to manage out in Europe. Sylke, it's an integral part of a marketer's way of working, putting the customer privacy at the heart of what you're doing and making sure you're responsibly handling that first-party data, which is, wealthy to use. How are you doing that and reassuring trust to the customer at the same time?
Yeah, I can say it, data privacy, data protection is not going away. It is staying with us, and, I'm really glad to say that it's a collaborative approach we have taken in eBay. It is part of our scorecards. We have a governance structure in place. We make the topic to a topic of the day when we are setting up messages and campaigns that we are thinking about. Is the data of our customers safe? Do we have all the measures in place we need to have? We are constantly reviewing our processes. We have big web-based trainings. So I think, the awareness within the company is big. We take the challenge to assure that our customer feels trusted, and that our customer is trusting us, that we are protecting and keeping and managing the data in the best we can do.
I think that customer trust piece is really important. We all have that kind of duty of care really as brands to really understand our customer, understand their data. So of course you're thinking about privacy from the changing rules. It's GDPR for us in Europe and staying on the right line of that. I had this brilliant quote previously that, this is around be convenient but don't be creepy with my data, right? So we'll ask customers to scroll through 5 pages plus of all this legal stuff, which a very educated person would struggle to get through, and then click a box at the end of it, and they're handing their data across. So what are we as brands doing with it? Where's the value exchange in there for us? That's where the trust piece comes in. So how are you using that data to make sure you're being incredibly personalized, thinking about the intelligence behind it to deliver great customer experiences? So I couldn't agree more around the trust part, and we will lose trust if we use the data in the wrong way, and we see so many examples of it.
Yeah, and it can be a bit of a bore when you have to manage it, but when you think about the customers and you want to do right by them, then that should be the motivation, because we're all customers in the room, aren't we? And like going into AI, I know, back into AI, but the themes around cost of living, changes in travel, preferences, challenges for our customers and their needs, AI has no boundaries. It can bring a lot of value. We can see that through personalization. We can see that through the heavy lifting it can sort through. Wojciech, I'm interested to know, how have you guys been adopting AI and leveraging that to support data and personalization, to be more empathetic to your customers?
Yeah, I'm actually in the 23rd year of my professional career, and from the very beginning I was aware and I was advocating for using data, for making data-driven decisions. So, in the first place, I must say that AI as a concept of using data to make informed decisions and to help customers better is nothing new, I would say. What is new is that the help you have from AI is to a much bigger extent appropriate for the problems to be solved than regular models. We have used churn propensity models, upsell models in telco industry. We probably started maybe 30 years ago together with the banks that did credit scorings. So I would say in terms of using data and using models, this is nothing new, but what is new in AI is how comprehensive the answer may be and how comprehensive handling of data may be. This is impressive. And I must say, we haven't yet implemented any top-down initiative for AI. I must be I must frankly tell you that we do not do AI yet. I mean, in terms of how we understand this today. But I think that the comprehensiveness of all these answers is immense, and I think that we'll be using that soon. It's probably that next year we'll implement something.
Thank you, Wojciech. I think when I think about the Very Group, and I'm with you guys all the time out in Liverpool, it's a challenge what you've got to deal with, as you said at the beginning, Jess. So how are you using the AI to implement data and personalization?
Yeah, as a digital business, you can obviously imagine we are testing our way through it and really leaning into AI. There's a couple of great examples when we get back to the focus on the families, getting more. So a couple of things. We partnered with a firm called Constructor, who are helping us with our online on-site search, so making sure we're really understanding the customer journey, whether you're a new or existing customer. When you're searching, how can we make sure the most relevant product comes in? So if a female is looking for Converse sneakers, actually she's looking for high tops, right? So how do you get that to the top first? So we're also using Google to help influence that as well. We're using AI from a ChatGPT perspective. I mean, first person to say ChatGPT, I must get on the panel 10 points. But yeah, we're using that from an SEO perspective to help kind of think about the content we're creating. But one of the pieces that we have been doing that's really near and dear to the hearts of the team is a really great piece of work around understanding how we integrate better the retail experience for our customers with the financial services piece. So existing customer will have a credit line with us. For example, they're on site looking for a Samsung TV. Their credit line isn't high enough to afford the TV, but actually we know, having used all of our brilliant risk modelling and credit modelling, that we could give that customer an instant approval on a credit line increase. So we send the customer a piece of communication that says we're going to increase their credit line. Well, they would get approved for it. They come back and they can buy the TV and they leave feeling incredibly happy. And of course, the most important part of all of that is that it wouldn't have been possible without our wonderful partners at Zeta.
Oh, there we go. There's the plug right there. And I've got another plug coming
Another
up
10
with Brian.
points.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. But it's true.
Something?
It's a win-win situation.
May I add something? Because I said we haven't implemented any top-down initiative about AI, but what's great about AI is how available it is, how cheaply available it is today. And since there was no top-down initiative, I can see that every employee uses ChatGPT to rephrase a text message, to think of another way of promoting our product. So yeah, no top-down initiative, but actually bottom-up, it is everywhere.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And over to you, Brian. We've been working together for some years now, I think back in 2019. And you've been doing some great stuff with us at Zeta, with our tech and with your vision. Would you like to share a bit more about that and how it's been helping you solve for those problems?
Sure, but I'll echo Jess's plug first. So it's been a super experience, and I'm on stage, so maybe I have to say
Here
it, but it's genuine. Everything from the platform that we're working with, to the professional services, to the people that we have contact with day to day, we really get a good, consistent, intelligent response from our colleagues in Zeta. So it's a credit to you guys and how you organise, but also the kind of the product and so on that you support us with. So going back to 2017, we had, our MarTech strategy was taking shape. We were looking to do a cross-channel orchestration across digital media, email, and website personalization. And so we needed to invest and put emphasis on machine learning right from word go. It was quite obvious that the machine needed to be trusted to do its work, but we also had a lot of organizing to do and a lot of data pipelines, cleanliness, all of the normal hygiene factors around a stack. We had to put that in place. But key to it all was dealing with it all from the same brain. So we have kind of 4 building blocks of identity, presence, propensity, and orchestration. And the presence is unique to us because we don't do a transaction as a destination marketer. So it would be the airlines or the accommodation providers that do the transaction. So we don't see that. So we needed a way to detect consumer presence of people that we had previously marketed to, so that we could then use modeling in order to understand what of our consumer contact had made a difference to the arrival of a consumer, and to allow us to calculate an uplift there. So the Zeta tool, the email marketing tool, plugged straight into our aspiration there, which was to create this significant data pool to get our propensity model working at scale, and then to be able to make the kinds of orchestration recommendations that come off that, and also then to be able to move into execution using the modeling that is built within the tool. It creates all sorts of obligations on us to think about content proliferation and avoiding repetition in multiple languages every day of the week. So it's a meaningful and difficult challenge. But what we've been able to do is to do this personalization at scale. And we have been able to achieve with the machine similar, if not better, conversion rates than when the humans were doing it. The poor teams in Tourism Ireland doing their manual emails, we've been able to exceed the performance of people, which is deeply worrying. The kind of, if you're Terminator-minded, but we've been able to achieve that, and what that has done is allowed us to free up consumer time or staff time in order to think about email not in digital manual labor terms, but to think about it as a strategic program. So what is the kind of messaging and purpose that we have out there? How are we evaluating this as a program? And so we've been able to get to work with Steph's team on proper consideration and evaluation. So our quarterly reviews, our A/B testing, our experimentation is far more rich and insightful than it ever was prior to the introduction of our stack. So we've also been able to implement a hybrid approach. So the backbone is full automation, but we're able to step out if we want to do something for Halloween or for Christmas or whatever.
So I'm looking forward to Halloween. We're running out of time, but I have to do this because Brian's just said some amazing words about us and the team. Go up, pull your phone out, island.com, sign up to the email, next trip, book it to Ireland, please, because Brian needs his bonus.
Sorry, folks, there's no such thing as bonuses in public sector organisations, let's be clear. But my conversion here today is you're all coming on vacation to Ireland next year. So I expect to see you all coming into Dublin Airport or Cork Airport and just have a wonderful time on the Wild Atlantic Way, let the waves crash in off the Atlantic, all wonderful stuff. So come on over.
He's really plugged that one. We love Ireland, even in the bad weather. So we've got a couple of minutes left. I really want to just get your thoughts, everyone, maybe just 20, 30 seconds of what you see is going to be, the biggest trend for you or emerging change and opportunity into 2024. Some wise words to leave us with.
Looking forward into 24, I think, getting prepared, understanding how AI is going to affect our ways of working in the organization, staying laser focused on the customer and making sure that all the messages are relevant for the customer. And I think, it's all about listening and understanding the needs of our customer.
Brilliant. We've talked a little bit about brand, customer management, but I think for me it's data, measurement, data integration. So, you've heard me talk about today the 2,000 brands that we have, the multiple categories, the 4.4 million customers, the financial services information. We are sitting on a really large data asset at the Very Group, which is incredibly rich. So for me, it's how do I harness that to be incredibly personalized for the customer, really targeted for our partner brands, to making sure we're putting the right brand and the right product in front of the customer. And of course, what we have been seeing, especially in the US, is the enormous acceleration of retail media. We're seeing that coming through into the UK and to Europe as well. So a real focus on retail media, about how we can be putting the right brand in front of the right customer, and of course thinking about how we monetize that as well. So but it all absolutely starts with data and data integration.
For us, we have more of a supply side challenge next year. Our demand side is looking pretty solid. But we have a need to shape the consumer's journey. So to push more regionality for people to travel into the off the beaten track areas on the island. We want to make sure that people also see the shoulder seasons, so March, April, September, October, November, as potentially viable times to visit. And so a lot of our communication then is about shaping the message and shaping the communications that people have as smartly as possible, using all of the techniques that Jess just described.
Brilliant. Wojciech, we've got a few seconds there.
Yeah, a few seconds. I bet the 2024 may be about privacy. Everyone is going to be using AI, but I think that the winner will be the one who will actually convince and deliver upon ethical use of AI and valuing privacy of customers.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, everybody. And thank you for all of you in the audience. Have a brilliant rest of the day.
Thank you.